Hi, my name is Daniel Sokol, licensed psychotherapist. This is the final part 4 of children going through separation or divorce. This is a video that will quickly talk about needs, and we talked about kind of active worries, then we talked about some problems, then symptoms that may arise, and then we talked about questions actively going through a child's mind. This is where we're going to talk about what needs to happen to reduce all these things we talked about earlier that seemed really negative, exhausting, and frankly very depressing and kind of hopeless. Really, there is hope, there is a lot of progress, and a lot of these are things that are and can be worked through. But things need to happen, supports need to happen, and parents need to take an active role. One of the biggest needs that a kid has is called empathic listening. So understanding their experiences, feelings, how they're experiencing the divorce or separation, what it means to them, and processing through that. It is very rare that actually happens with kids. Usually it's asked, well, how are you doing with this? And a kid will say, fine, or I don't know, sad, or things that they'll say. But really, you need to have a really big conversation, an ever-present and active conversation. And when you see symptoms start to arise, you ask about them, you express love, care, and worry, but you also listen and you wait for the information to come out, and they'll let you know with an investment of time. Oftentimes people come to therapy because the time just doesn't exist, or the kids aren't talking, and therapy can often become the place where the problems are worked through a little bit on both sides, and then the conversations that need to happen can be there, and the skills are developed that can be there once some of the needs to discuss it separately and neutrally are unloaded. One thing that's really important is having their anger addressed less as a punitive, consequence-related reaction, and more about an understanding of the anger. Now, there need to be consequences for angry, violent, defiant behavior. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't punish kids. What I'm saying is the anger needs to be validated. I get that you're angry. I get that you're incredibly upset, that you're mourning a significant change. And validating that. Now, the consequences may and have to exist for safety reasons if there's physical violence, for respect reasons if there's verbal abuse, and to really set things straight that there's a parent and there's a child. The roles need to be solidified. It can't be, an equal plane. And that's just the nature of the family. There needs to be some sense of authority for a sense of security to exist. Parents and kids can't be buddies. So the roles need to be solidified in terms of having the anger identified, but also having a fair consequence attached to it. And if you're interested in learning more about consequences, I have a video on that, really discussing compounding punishments and how that doesn't help, and helpful ways to do things punitively but fairly. There's really an important need to have supportive adults in the child's life know what's going on. School, other family members, counselors maybe, religious supports. Because if a kid's having significant changes or being aggressive, sometimes people will react to that. And knowing the story, not in a way that's gossipy, but in a way that's caring and supportive, like I just want to fill you in, this is going on at home. If you see issues arise, please keep this in mind and be as supportive as possible and let me know. And to have open lines of communication with the important people in your child's life is really great. Now, again, not gossipy. Oh my God, they're doing this, or just so you know, this is how bad it's getting. Really, to be supportive. This is what's going on in my child's life. I just wanted to make you aware of as a support to them, and I really want you to have an open line of communication to me if any active worries arise. It's also important that parents don't try to become friends. We talked about this earlier. The shift in roles really causes a sense of insecurity, when a sense of insecurity with the shift is already existing. And that could really cause a lot more problems. It could also lead to a parent exploiting a child for information, to get information on the other, to retaliate, but it really causes an imbalance and an unfairness for the child. And then it's hard to discipline a kid who thinks you're their best friend. They don't get it. It doesn't make sense to them when the roles have been shifted. The last piece is really to be as supportive, caring, and open to dialogue as possible, validating the emotion, even if it's a negative emotion related to aggression or defiance or isolation, but really coming from a caring and supporting place to really push them in a direction where they can overcome the symptoms, the worries, the problems that exist. I do have groups, and these topics often come up thematically, specifically for kids going through divorce or separation. If you are looking for services, don't hesitate to reach out to me. My website is my best means of getting to know more about me, and also contacting me on the contact form, Daniel Sokal, D-A-N-I-E-L, Sokal, S-O-K-A-L.com. I hope these videos were helpful. There'll be a series coming out on information for parents, active concerns, worries, and their needs as well. And I hope you'll will continue to follow me and my videos if you find them helpful. Don't hesitate to share these videos as well if you think they might be helpful to someone. Thanks again for your time, and take care.